Greetings, and salutations, all my brothers and sisters of the trade out there. I hope today finds you well. I hope your plans for early retirement are going extremely well. The market is doing great. SpaceX is keep on running. I was able to get a few shares of that at 150, just at full disclosure. I'm also out of some of my Rigetti puts. Rigetti went up, so my $21 puts out, done. So we've got back in on some others, but that's not why we're here today. We're not here to talk exactly about stocks. What we're here to talk about today is stop losses. Now, the stop loss is something that you hear so many different conflicting views on, and so many, I use them, I don't use them. Some people will scoff at you and try to make you feel silly for using them. But the fact of the matter is, they wouldn't be out there if they weren't useful. So, if you're a trader, you have to kind of decide, are you a day trader? If you're a day trader and you're scalping stuff, you better believe it. You're using stop losses. You're using stop losses all the time. If you're a long-term trader, you may not even know what a stop loss is. But if you're an options trader and you kind of do a little bit different trades and different strategies and these types of things, I highly recommend being familiar with the stop loss. Is it something you always have to use? Absolutely not. But it should be something that's in your arsenal to use as another arrow in your quiver. So long-term traders don't really have to pay attention to it. Everybody else should really know about it because it can be helpful. Now, as always, there's two sides to every coin and there's two sides to every story. So if there's a helpful part of it, there's probably going to be a side of it also that may be kind of not so helpful. What am I talking about? So you put a stop loss on for something. Let's say you have a $100 stock and you're moving, you're watching the options play, you're scalping, whatever the case, and you want to stop that. If that thing goes down to $80 in its strike price, you want out. You want to clear the trade. You want to cut your losses right there. So you put on a stop loss. The stop loss can absolutely, it comes down to 80, hits it, boom, stops you out. Now there's two things that can happen. Now that thing can just keep on plunging down and you'll be like, oh, thank God I put on that stop loss. Or it'll kiss off your stop loss and bounce back up, in which case you're like, oh shoot, I missed out on money. You can't think of it like that. You have to make a decision, stick to it, and be glad you stuck to it. And if you stop yourself out, that's okay. It's not always going to be stopping you out and then bouncing back. It's going to work itself out. Oh, as most everything else, the curve's going to set itself over a numerous amount of trades, and you're going to end up, being on the right side of that stop loss. So let's just not say it's bad or it's good. It has to be used strategically, just the same as most everything else. There's also the good to cancel order, which is kind of the inverse of the stop loss. Say you're a person that takes 50% profit, 25% profit. You take 25% on maybe your straddles or some of your Jade Lizard types. Or you would take 50% on, your put credit spreads, your puts, whatever the case. And you set that good to cancel order kind of like a stop profit order, if you will. So when it gets up there, same thing's going to happen. It's going to hit that number that you've set, and you're either going to take your profits or you're not, depending on which one that you called. Now there's same two sides of that story goes. It can go up to that and you take your profits and are happy, and it comes back down, you're like, oh, good deal, I got it at the right time. Or it's going to keep on shooting on up and you're gonna be like, oh shoot, I missed out on some money. But that's the story of the whole market. I mean, you get out of any trade or sell a stock or whatever time that goes up, you're like, oh my goodness, and you don't worry about that in another week when it's way back down. So just stick to your trade, stick to what your call is, and live with it. It's perfectly fine. And trust me, it's not always going to beat you up. Yes, sometimes, it happens. It goes down and then bounces and boom, you're like, oh God, daggone it, I locked in a loss. Well, yeah, you did. So what? But you want to use these on these trades that are highly speculative. You're not quite sure. Your comfort level's not high on it and everything. So you put that stop loss in just as a little bit of insurance. And somewhat, insurance always costs you money, no matter what the insurance is. If it's on your big screen TV or if it's on your car, insurance is going to cost you money. And the stop loss is kind of like putting in insurance. Sometimes it's going to cost you money. It's sometimes going to bounce off of it, but you had the insurance and the peace of mind that trade's fine. It's locked and loaded. I'm not going to take huge losses on it. And just the same way, I'm not going to miss out on my profits because I'm not at the computer. So I've got this good to cancel order, and I know I take all my profits at 50%. Say you're an options trader that does that. Well, then then you just set 50%. It's like Ron Popeil used to say, set it and forget it. And boom, you just go about your life. And you know, whenever it hits that 50%, you're going to cash out and go on about your business. And then when you get back to the computer, get back to your time that can trade, especially if you have a job and a full-time job and can't trade as much as you'd like to. Well, that's a perfect thing for you. You can be at work and you don't have to constantly be checking in if you're losing money or if you missed out on something. Those things protect you. Now, if you're a full-time trader and you're around in front of the computer all the time and everything, perhaps good to cancel orders and stop loss orders aren't that big a deal. Or, you know, you don't really need them as much because you got your finger on the pulse. Well, it's not always like that. Maybe you want to go on vacation. Maybe you want to half trade on vacation. Well, these things can protect you and keep kind of an umbrella around so that you stay structured within the confines of losses or profits. So don't let anybody make you feel less of a trader just because they're like, oh, I don't use stop loss. That's amateur stuff. Well, you know what? You can kiss my hind end, amateur stuff. I'm not about losing my big money when I'm out doing stuff in my life. If you want to sit in front of the computer all the time, that's perfectly fine. And I like doing it too. I'm a trading junkie. I enjoy it. But sometimes life calls, man. You got to go out and do stuff. You got to go out and take trips. You got to go out and just have fun, you know, go out drinking with the fellas. I mean, whatever the case, you know, you can set these things, set it and forget it. You don't have to worry about all that's going on and all what's going to happen. And remember, there's always two sides to the story. Sometimes it's going to bite you. Sometimes, you know, sometimes you eat the bear, sometimes the bear, he eats you. But, you know, if you have a knowledge of the stock, if you're familiar with the stock and you know how it trades, then stop losses and these kinds of things are very easy for you to look at and predict. You're like, oh, well, I know this stock usually doesn't drop below $50. Well, then you can be comfortable and you may not have to set a stop loss. You may get into a CRWV that just goes around and goes crazy nuts all the time, and you definitely may want to set a stop loss in it. It's all about how you trade. No two traders are going to trade exactly the same. You can line up all these traders on a prop firm and they'd be working at the same place and doing the same things, and they don't trade the same way. They all look for different things, just the same way as some people use, you know, a VWAP, some people use the EMA, some people use Bollinger Bands, and on and on and on. They all trade differently trying to get to the same place. So don't let somebody tell you that your trading is wrong or your style isn't right. Especially if you're a new trader, you're still trying to find your style. You're still trying to define yourself in what is right and what is wrong and what works for you. And you know, sometimes you just got to take a little lumps along the way. We call it tuition. It's a good price to pay because you don't forget the lessons. But hey, get out there, set your stop losses if you're not sure. Get those good to cancel orders in. And let me give you one more. Let's say you want to get in on a stock. Let's say I would get in on SpaceX if it was $150. Well, you can get in there and set that order that you would buy X amount of SpaceX, whether it be dollars or shares, for $150 and not one penny more. And if it drops to 150, you get your shares. And that's a very nice thing to have in your pocket. Because if you're doing things and that stock's volatile, but you know it's getting down there and it's been running low and you want to get in on the cheap and have your put spreads on and get in on the cheap, you are set with that limit order. But don't ever set a market order because you can get stung on pricing like that. Limit order. You can make it for as long or as short as you want for the price that you want. You can put it down at a ridiculously low price and next year it get hit. Just remember, it's going to hold the money when you put that order in. Hey, I held you up too long. The market's open. Let's get back to trading. I wish you much success. Thanks for coming in. I greatly appreciate your time and hanging out with us. Much success to you in your retirement adventure. Like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time here on Trading in Your Future.